Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SI Talk Mai 2019, Endeavour Silver. Und wenn wir ehrlich sind, die letzten Wochen waren, oder die letzten Monate muss man eigentlich sagen, waren für die Gold- und Silver-Stocks nicht wirklich spannend. Nicht nur, weil der Gold- und Silberpreis nicht das gemacht hat, was wir alle uns erhofft haben, auch die Ergebnisse von der Firma hinken hinterher. Brad, thank you to have time. And I said in my German introduction, the last few months was not really funny for the silver and gold stock. It looks like the market is in really bad shape compared to 2008, 9, 2015 or something. Okay, the gold price is higher than at this old days, but normally the cost increase every year from the labor cost and so on, and so it's not a really funny situation for the companies. And you're coming up with the last quarter numbers, and this shows also a little bit the situation. So maybe you can fill us in a little bit what the last numbers really mean for you as a company and what is now the strategy.
First, let's talk about gold and silver, because clearly they're what's driving the general trends for our business. And while they're not flat at bottom, they're also very close to bottom at this time. And I don't think very many of us expected the correction in the metal prices last year and then just going flat. When you look at the fundamental supply and demand analysis, it cannot be explained. It's in particular for silver, the paper market, the derivative market, is so much larger than the physical market that analyzing physical supply and demand just isn't useful at a time like this. We know that supply is falling, and we know that there's an absence of investment demand. Clearly, that's one reason why silver prices are so low. But gold is well off bottom. I mean, gold it's not doing great, but it's doing a lot better than silver, as reflected by the high silver-gold ratio. So my outlook for the year has to be changed. I was quite optimistic in the first quarter that we would see higher prices later in the year. And I think that will come true, but we can't be talking about $18 silver this year. So I've pulled back my own expectations or forecast to the $16 range year end. And we just have to run a business that works at that price. So that's the general comment. The specific comment on Endeavour is that we had a terrible quarter in the first quarter, and we realized that there were more problems than we were aware of. We have, in the last month and a half, made a number of remediation measures to fix what we feel is wrong with our operations. And let me just say from a high level that when you have what looks like a big problem, the solution is to actually break it down into all the little problems and just go about resolving each of those little problems, and then the big problem is resolved. So that is the phase that we're in now, here in May 2019. We've identified all these little problems that some of them we were not aware of. We've put remediation plans in place. The second quarter will not look very good either. I can say that because we have one-time items and once-per-year items that we're going to be paying for in the second quarter. For example, we laid off quite a number of people early in the second quarter. So all of that severance will be a one-time item hitting our financials. There's an annual profit sharing, and believe it or not, yes, we had profits last year at two of our mines. It was only the one mine that lost money. So we have to write checks to share those profits here in the second quarter. And then last but not least, perhaps the most prevailing issue is that we fell behind on the development of access to the reserves at each of the mines. And that was partly different reasons at each mine. The remediation efforts are underway to accelerate the development, but that costs money. So once again, there'll be additional costs in Q2 that we perhaps did not see in Q1. After Q2, then I think Endeavour will look much, much better and back making money again as a company.
But in general, we must calculate that the second quarter, but coming out in July, August?
Yes,
August,
it'll be
August.
usually late July, early August.
that would be not really good.
Well, no, because we're spending all these one-time items to catch up, to fix what's wrong. So Q2, fixing what's wrong, the results will show up in Q3.
Perfect. I think this was really a little short update, but a good one. Then I don't have really too much other question. Then the problem is really at the moment, with this silver prices, it's really tough to can do something. But what I not really understand is, or what maybe one of my last questions is, you say that the paper market in gold and in silver is much, much larger than the physical market. But should not be the time where the physical market will drive the paper market. Then I think when the customers of the industrial customer of silver don't get their stuff, and the paper market is still against you.
It's pretty hard to use paper to make solar panels.
Yes.
And it's pretty hard to use paper to build electronics or electric cars. So ultimately, and we have seen when the physical market does drive the paper market. We saw it briefly last summer when the COMEX commitments of traders reports showed that the traditionally short commercials actually went slightly long, and the traditionally long speculators actually went briefly short. That's corrected now, and we're back to the normal position of the commitments of traders. But it gave you an example that there was a short-term impact of the physical. When the investor comes back to silver, and I don't mean just bars and coins and ETFs, I mean also jewelry and revival of the industrial demand, the paper market quickly corrects itself. And that's when the physical starts driving the paper. We're not there yet, but we'll get there. We've been there before.
Brad, thank you for the update. I know exactly it's a little bit frustrating for me too as a shareholder. I forgot this in the beginning. I have a conflict of interest. I'm a shareholder of the company. That was ein Update from May 2019. Ja, Update von Mai 2019. Ich habe vergessen, dass ich vorher einen Conflict of Interest dementsprechend sage. Ich bin Aktionär vom Unternehmen. Er hat es eigentlich sehr gut zusammengefasst. Das Problem ist, einerseits haben wir einen niedrigen Silberpreis und keiner kann wirklich erklären, warum ist der Silberpreis so niedrig. Wir haben auch jetzt in der letzten Frage diskutiert, ja, sollte eigentlich nicht der physische Markt irgendwann einmal auch den Papiermarkt dominieren? Denn es ist viel mehr Papiersilber draußen als wie physisches Papier und das Papier dominiert den Silberpreis. Aber es ist extrem schwierig, aus Papier Solaranlagen zu bauen oder Elektroautos oder generell irgendwelche technischen Equipments. Das funktioniert aus Papier nicht. Also früher oder später kommt es dann am physischen Markt wieder zurück. Wir sind allerdings noch nicht dort, wo wir sein sollten. So, zu Ihren generellen Problemen. Sie haben ganz ein schlechtes erstes Quartal gehabt. Sie haben verschiedene Probleme, die Sie gehabt haben, unterschätzt bzw. nicht erkannt. Das haben Sie jetzt im zweiten Quartal adressiert. Es waren zwar viele kleine Probleme, die dann ein großes Problem kreiert haben. Sie haben jetzt sehr viele kleine Probleme identifiziert, haben die jetzt versucht zu adressieren und zu lösen. Und das wird für das zweite Quartal genauso ein schlechtes Ausblick geben, denn das führt zu einmaligen Kosten. Sie haben Leute entlassen zum Beispiel, sie haben allerdings auch diese ganzen kleinen Probleme zu fixieren, kostet Geld und sie müssen auch zahlen für ihren Profit, den sie letztes Jahr gemacht haben, zahlen sie heuer auch einen Gewinn aus, das ist auch eine einmalige Zahlung sozusagen für die letztjährigen Profits, wo sie quasi so für diesen, was auch immer diese alten Verträge dementsprechend sind, müssen sie dementsprechend was bezahlen. So, und das führt zu einmaligen Kosten im zweiten Quartal und deswegen wird das zweite Quartal, das Ende Juli, Anfang August bekannt gegeben wird, genauso schlecht sein. Also, und erst ab dem dritten Quartal sehen wir eine neue Company, die dann quasi wieder deutlich besser laufen sollte. Das war's von Endeavour Silver aus Mai 2019. Tschüss und Baba. Thank you.
Good.